Thanks for staying with us. So, yesterday, the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja convicted and sentenced the former chairman of the defunct Pension Reform Task Team, PRTT, Mr. Abdulrasheed Maina, to 8 years in prison for money laundering. Now, before I even bring in our guest, because we have a guest on the show too, from EFCC, I'll let Mariam tell us, for those of you who have no idea who is Maina, what he did, what this is about. Let Mariam give us the facts of this case. Mariam, go ahead, please.
Yes, so thankfully, Daily Trust was able to give us pictorial depictions, so it's easier for us to understand. So in 2011, Abdulrasheed Maina, appointed as Chairman Presidential Tax Team on Pension Reforms. In 2012, he was accused of fraud amounting to over 100 billion. He also failed to appear before the Senate committee investigating the alleged fraud. In 2013, Maina sued the Senate, IGP, and others to stop his arrest. He later went into hiding. Maina was declared wanted by EFCC. Earlier, he was dismissed by the Office of the Head of the Civil Service from his position as PRTT chairman. Then in 2015, EFCC charged Maina, Steve Orosaye, and 2 others to court, but Maina did not appear in court with others. Then October 2017, he was secretly reinstated as director in the Ministry of Interior, but President Buhari ordered the reversal of that reinstatement. EFCC launched fresh manhunt for him. In 2019, EFCC rearranged Maina on fresh charge of 738.6 million naira contract scam at the FCT court. December 2020, Maina collapsed at the Federal High Court. October 2021, Maina's son was sentenced to 24 years in prison. November 2021, Maina, as we know, was convicted of 2.1 billion naira fraud.
So thanks for that. So with all that has happened, we're going to be discussing your thoughts on the sentence. But before we do that, we're going to bring in our guest. He is Mr. Habibu Adamu Aliyu. He is the former head EFCC Pension Fraud Special Team. He specializes in forensic investigation and financial crime intelligence analysis. He is the lead prosecution witness of the EFCC in all 13 pension fraud cases pending before various courts, including the Maina's case. Welcome, sir, to the show. Hello, sir. Are you there? Mr. Habibu Aliyu, are you there?
Yeah.
Good, good. Thanks for joining us. So, Nigerians, many pensioners were happy that finally they've gotten a conviction. However, some people are still with the belief that it's still not a good enough sentence for it's not commensurate with the crime that has been committed. What are your thoughts on this? I know you're not a lawyer, but what are your thoughts on this?
Our thoughts on this is it's within the discretion of the court to impose the sanctions it imposed on convicts, and we have no problem with that, honestly. And what comes out of the judgment is novel. It's one of the best interpretations of the Money Laundering Act, because we are able to establish how he operated anonymous accounts, how he induced officers of the bank to open an account anonymously, how he was receiving stolen funds. So it was really a stamp on the quality of work that we did. So I'm apparently very happy with the outcome of the court decision.
Right. Go ahead.
The judgment was given to run concurrently for 8 years, a 61-year judgment. Is this due to how the charge was done, or, just based on the discretion of the judge?
Yeah, it was arraigned for a 12-count charge. So each of the counts has its own penalty and sentence. So the sentence ranges from 2 years imprisonment to a maximum of 8 years in prison. So cumulatively, he's sentenced over 61 years in prison. But he has to run concurrently, because that's what the law says.
Okay, sir. A few times we've seen where they've been corrupt officials have been sentenced, and they're able to go back to court, appeal the case, and they go out or have the sentence reduced. What makes it possible for them to do that? And in this case, is it likely to happen?
So we are very sure of the quality of investigation, and the pronouncement of the court is novel. So we are very sure of what we did, and we can defend it even at the appellate court.
Okay.
Okay, sir. For me, Maina is a very powerful Nigerian, and we know that he has the ability to pull some strings. In your opinion, in all sincerity, do you think this sort of short sentence is commensurate to the act that was committed? And do you think it would deter other people from committing this?
Yeah, commensurate is honestly a relative term, and I don't want us to deny the fact that the court has on the discretion to enforce the sentence in court. And honestly, I'm okay with the sentence because we are looking at 61 years. He's convicted for 61 years, but the law says has to run it concurrently. That's one. Number two, all the assets established have been pursued by this by his money laundering. In fact, they forfeited to the federal government. One of the houses is worth $2 million. The second house is worth $1.4 million. So it's really commensurate, and he has to now respond about over $2 billion back to the federal government property. So at least like enough deterrent to deter others from doing such kind of.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Lee. I think I'll let you go at this point.
I wanted to ask quickly.
Okay, go ahead.
Sir, can you confirm to us where he's been remanded right now? Because yesterday, immediately after conviction, we noticed that there was a bit of confusion as to who would take custody of him following for his detention. Is he with the EFCC now or in the prisons as expected that he should be?
In the lawful custody of the Nigerian prison service, there was a communication gap. What was normally obtained in the past is whenever there is a conviction, EFCC normally conveys the convict to the prison authority. Because mostly either the convict accused was on bail or it was EFCC that brought him to court. So in this instance, he was in the lawful custody of the Nigerian prison on the order of the court because he jumped bail. So in this instance, the communication gap was between the EFCC officials and the prison authority. They could have, which we were able to resolve there and then in court. So he was in the lawful custody of Nigerian Correctional Service.
Right. All right. Thank you very much, sir, for sharing this with us.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you.
So now we'd like to open our phone lines to Nigerians. We'd like to call us on 081-270-53687, 091-390-7694. You can also send us messages on YouTube and Facebook. We'd like to hear your thoughts on this sentence because we're trying really hard to stop corruption. We're trying really hard. I say corruption is fighting back. But we see other countries that have tried to significantly reduce corruption, and we see that they've had more stringent measures against things like this. So based on the law, I mean, it seems like no matter how bad the crime is, you can't do more than 14 years. It's looking like that's the worst case scenario. I mean, somebody did 24 years, Mina's son. I wonder what that was about. But it's more like you can't really get that extreme measure. Now, Nigerians will see that, okay, justice has been served because people have died waiting for their pensions that this man has stolen. What are your thoughts on this?
You want to go? Yes.
Go ahead.
So Mina's son was arraigned for being in possession of firearms. He pulled a pistol upon the authorities when they tried to arrest his father upon their return before he jumped bail and went to Niger at the time. But for me, there's so much that our lawmakers need to do. They need to be reacting to the pulse of the people. You know, this has been on since 2011 when he was appointed, you know, and the trials and the number of times he jumped bail, he moved in a very, very gangster style out of the country. He lived large. He jumped bail and he had his shorty arrested, a whole sitting senator. And we should have laws, aside the drama around him, that reflects strong punitive measures against certain activities. So for him, he diverted pensioners' money. And while the matter was going on, a lot of pensioners died waiting for their pension. We would expect that our lawmakers were already preempting that, you know, finally this person will come before the law. We don't want them to be coming before the law in a way that our laws are not going to be punitive enough. So the maximum jail term that they can give for the offense that he was tried is 14 years.
Okay, let me go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll take more phone calls and talk about this. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we're still on this Maina issue. Let me come to BC, because I've not heard your thoughts on this. Nigerians, oh yeah, Mary wanted to go first. I'm sorry.
No, she wanted
so I mean, your thoughts on the sentences. So I hear the part of the law. Yes, there's only so much years you can sentence a man in this kind of situation. But Nigerians feel like, some Nigerians feel like justice is yet to be served if they compare to the fact that their parents have died waiting for them for money from the government. So in your view, do you think this is fair enough?
I think this is not fair at all to every Nigerian. And I want to start with what the judge said. So according to him, he said, this is to send a message to those who are in the act to have a rethink, but added that he could not impose the maximum sentence of 14 years allowed for the offense in the view of the plea by Maina and his lawyer. And in Maina's lawyer's defense, he said, he told the court that his client was obviously remorseful, and he begged the court to temper justice with mercy in passing judgment. He said that they made some bad decisions, which the court has adjudged him guilty. But as a human being, he's not infallible, and none of us is. And so they are asking for a second chance, that he's the breadwinner of his large family and is battling serious illness. This way, what the lawyer presented. The judge now said the convict is harmless. And after all of that, he still went back to 8 years instead of the 14 years maximum that at least would have even made Nigerians feel, okay, there's a form of justice. So that's my grouse with the justice system. And it's not just in Nigeria, it's all over the world. The judge has the discretion to whether go further or just stay within the limits based on the evidence presented to him. So as a powerful person in Nigeria, you've committed a crime, but you're able to buy a very good lawyer who will stand in court and defend you. You will likely get away with it, or just get very minimal sentence that will not be commensurate to the action or the crime that you have committed. And this is one of the reasons why people feel, why do I have to go to court when I can take laws into my hands? Because they don't feel like the court is, powerful enough to give justice. They would have a way to, make it smoother with considering human rights and not, okay, we can't just kill and all of that. But for me, as a country, if we are really serious about dealing with corruption, we have to take the way of some other countries that have said, if we catch you doing this, is the death sentence. We just cut you off. And that will be, serve as deterrence for other people who are looking to, because if you feel that after how many years, even if I give them if I forfeit some of my properties to the federal government, I still have some that are hidden in other countries and other places. And I will get back on my feet after a few years. And we know that VIPs in the prison, we have heard, VIPs in the prison, they don't really stay. From the prison, they go to parties. From the prison, they have people coming. There's this special treatment given to them. So what's the essence?
Well, sometimes, Mariam, we don't understand what pension means. Maybe we need to even define what pension, because not somebody else going to steal money. This is somebody's sweat. You've worked for 30-some years, and you kept it in the custody of the government. And somebody has access to these funds and steals it.
So for me, this is the part I want to talk about Nigerians, you and I. Thing is, with pension, is, like all of us here, we're working hard. In your youth, you have strength, and you're putting money towards your retirement age. When you're in your 60s, you're not able to do much. My mom just retired like a year ago, and that she's able to have access to something that comes to her monthly gives me joy. I know she'll be able to pay some hospital bills. She has no rent to pay. She's not paying school fees, but enough to just take care of her. She's not asking for much. I'm just talking about a regular who was a nurse. She's not even asking for much. Just enough to just live a nice, quiet, decent life. That's all she's asking for. And to find someone, to hear that there's one person who will take that away from her, and millions of Nigerians, because they can, because someone signed them and approved them to be in an office. So his sentence has been reviewed because first of all, they said he has some illness, he has some tumors, he has a large family. But this is a man, so let's say, okay,
he's a human being.
Let's even listen. Maybe he was desperate and he had to take care of his family. Does he need bulletproof cars? Choice of properties in Dubai? Does he need to live in such affluence? Is that what he's needing? So that's why I don't understand the mercy. This is not a person who is looking to put some money together to help his overwhelming
family problems.
Yes, family problems. This is someone who just wants to live in luxury, in affluence that he did not work for, that he does not deserve. You see, many times when people in government are caught, you have some people say, hey, leave him for us. We are forgiving him. Is it not our money? We too, it's our turn. It's national cake. The truth is that for everything that we do, for every action, there's a consequence. Behind the miners stealing of billions of naira, pensioners holding placards, standing in the sun and the rain, falling ill. Maina is able to talk about malignant tumors that he has because he went to the hospital.
And they checked. Yes.
They are pensioners. They cannot even go to the hospital. So that's what we're talking about. And so when we hear that the judge said, okay, given this, then we'll give you 8 years, nearly the minimum, I just feel it's so
Let me take this call and hold it for a while. Tayo, are you there? Thanks for calling. Sorry for keeping you. Hello, Tayo. Hello, Tayo, are you there? Hello? I think I lost that call. Go ahead.
Okay, so justice is very, very important for people to find closure. But if it is any consolation, the judge ordered Maina and the second defendant, One Common Input Properties and Investment Limited, to refund 2.4 billion naira to the federal government. Also, he asked that his 2 houses acquired from proceeds of this crime, situated in Jabi and Life Camp, Abuja, 2 vehicles, including a bulletproof SUV, a BMW 5 Series, ordered to be sold and the proceeds forfeited to the federal government. And, you know, hoping that this sends a message. But, you know, the time when Maina took the supposed 2 billion, the report originally was 100 billion. And since we don't agree that we spend dollar, the value of naira then was not this bad compared to that. So I would expect, that's why I want our lawmakers again to sit down. We cannot have the maximum sentence.
The point I'm making is a whole kind of one.
That's where I'm going.
It's a whole day show. Because these lawmakers, sometimes, they make a lot of arguments online, but in the House. But we need to remind them that many of these laws need to be reviewed.
They should be forward-thinking.
Forward-thinking and ensure.
You know, they should be forward-thinking, and also they should be feeling the pulse of the people. You know, the way Miriam just finished now.
Yeah.
If you are any Nigerian at all, and are not privileged, that's your story.
Yeah.
You know,
unfortunately, we have to wrap on this. We've lost our time on this, but I think generally, we're generally not happy about the fact that people can steal, because all of us cannot agree. Okay, let us steal money.
Let's just see.
No, if you're a very good lawyer, 8 years.
And that's not good enough. We need something more stringent, something more punitive, so that
something
people
more
know,
reassuring
more
of
deterring,
justice.
that people can know that this is the
something more reassuring of people's nerves. Something more calming of those who have suffered.
That's all we can take on this. When we come back, it's Tuesday. We have quite a bit of health topics. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.